Hi you guys, it's Anita here from zthewand.com, and today I want to talk about my all-natural birthing story. If you're new here, welcome. My channel is all about things motherhood, anything from faith, family, parenting. So if you'd like to hear all about my natural birthing story where I had no epidural, no drugs after birth, and just the whole thing, just stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that I can say that I remember from my natural birthing story, well, one thing I guess I'll start my birthing plan. So I wanted to have an all-natural birth, no epidural, no drugs after. The plan was to labor as much as possible at home and get to the hospital around 7-8 centimeters. Well, after my last two pregnancies, I should have known better. We left a little bit too late because I actually almost had my son, who's 1 month now, I almost had him in the car. And my last pregnancy with my daughter, I almost had her in the car. So water broke in the car with my last pregnancy 4 years ago, and water broke with him in the car. So just starting out, the beginning of my day, I started feeling a little bit of back pain. And I pretty much the whole pregnancy, my back was not happy because he was a heavy baby. Like the whole entire pregnancy, they kept saying that, oh, he's way off the chart. He's bigger than, normal right now for where you are in your pregnancy. So I had to keep getting all these ultrasounds. And so, yeah, it was a pretty uncomfortable pregnancy altogether. So that morning, I was having a little bit of back pain, so I put on my support belt, and I thought that was making it worse, so I took it off, and I was still kind of having this uneasy pain. So I told my husband, I'm not sure, but I could be in preterm labor. But as the day went on, we were actually preparing for my daughter's birthday, which is April 3rd, and so April 2nd, I was braiding her hair on the couch, and that whole time during the day I started having contractions, and they were kind of slow at first. They were like every 20 minutes, and then it was like every 12 minutes, and this is a span from like 10 a.m. until he came, which he came that night at 11:58 p.m. So he came right before, like the day before his sister. They almost had the same birthday. So my husband was like preparing all these things for my daughter's birthday, like hanging up signs and making cupcakes. And thankfully my parents were in town. They came to help out. Literally, I think 5 days prior, they came a little early. And he, for my type of pregnancies, came early because with my first son, he came at 40 weeks. And then my daughter, she came 3 days before her due date. So yeah, 39 weeks. And he came 38 weeks, 4 days. That's early for me. So anyway, the day before, let me back up. So on the 2nd, that day, I'm doing my daughter's hair. I'm like, thanking God I'm finally finished with it because it took forever. That night, my husband, I was like, you know what? I think I need a bath. I need to take a bath. My back is not feeling the best. And so I started, just doing some breathing exercises and took a bath. And I thought I was going to vlog the entire process, but things sped up pretty rapidly and that didn't end up happening. Hey, you guys. So if you've been following me, you know that I've been preparing for baby and nesting, and I'm currently 38 weeks and 4 days, and I've been having contractions pretty much since this morning. Oh, here comes one. And they've been about between currently 2 to 5-ish minutes apart. So we probably will be headed to the hospital soon. And I will just keep you posted and updated. I'm trying to vlog this process to help other mothers who are just thinking about having their babies naturally. I had my last child, my daughter, naturally, and I want to continue that. So I hope you follow along, stay tuned. Hopefully I can get some footage in the hospital, and hopefully it helps you. So after my bath, like in my bath, I had the pregnancy tracker on my phone, and it's just like some simple app that tells you when your contractions are and how often and how frequent and all that. And so they were about 5 minutes apart, and then 3 minutes apart, and then 2 minutes apart, and then back at 5 minutes apart. So pretty inconsistent. So I called my doctor's office. Thankfully I already had my hospital bag packed and ready to go, along with my husband. He had his packed too. And she's like, well, you know, the midwife was like, if you are, at least 5 minutes apart, we say go ahead and come in. And mind you, we live 30 minutes from our hospital, so it was like, okay, it's time to go. And so my husband literally was in the middle of making the icing for the cupcakes. I was like, babe, we have to go. And he knew. He was like, all right, she's serious. So from there, my mom was like, okay, I'll take over the cupcakes. And so he just started going all around the house, grabbing bags and the whole nine. And like once we got in the car, probably not even 5 minutes in the car, my water broke. And from there, you guys, I don't remember a ton, but I do remember just praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. And my husband's like, not yet, like telling the baby not to come yet. You guys, it takes 30 minutes to get to that hospital. Why did my husband get there in 15 minutes? Forgive us, Lord. He got there so fast. He ran some lights. He did, but thankfully God was with us. We got there on before the baby came. When we got there, I promise my water had to gush at least 5 times in the car, and then maybe 3 more times once we were at the hospital. So we get to the hospital, he pulls up to the front, he runs inside, and the security guard comes out, and he's like, hey, my wife is in the car, she's laboring, we're about to have a baby. And they're like, oh, okay. Like they were kind of really docile and not like really thinking it's a big deal. He's like, can we get a wheelchair? And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. And so he was like, oh, can we call a nurse? Like it's like almost like the security guards didn't know what to do. Like, do you guys not get training for this or what? I don't know. Hopefully they work on that. But so the nurses, I remember hearing nurses, I was in my zone, my eyes were closed. I remember hearing nurses asking me my doctor's office name, and they were like, oh, her fluid's clear, that's good. And so, when you get to the hospital, there's like this waiting room where they check you to see how far along you are before you go into actual labor and delivery. I was already, I think 9.5. See, I was 9.5 centimeters when we got there. So he was on his way. Thank God we did not have him in the car, because I really, really did not want to have him in the car. Oh, let me back up. On the way to the hospital, my husband did call 911 to see if they could help us with, just clearing us if we had to run some lights to get there. And she was like, no, we can't do that, but we can tell you to pull over and we can show you talk you through how to deliver the baby. My husband was like, oh, nope, not doing that. So we got there, thank God. We got there. And so, so I remember when we got there, they said I was 9.5 centimeters. At this point, I remember my water gushing a couple more times. Like I had so much fluid, and I think because I had so much because like I said, I normally carry to at least 39, almost 40 weeks, and so I had plenty of fluid for him, which was awesome. So I remember being on the table. I could the bed. I could barely like move, and they were like, you gotta do this, you gotta turn over, you gotta. And it's like, you guys, when you're about to have a baby, like you barely want to move. It's already uncomfortable having this huge like heaviness on one side of you, and then they're like, turn this way, turn that way, open your legs, spotlight. Like it's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. And it had to be like 5 or 6 nurses that was just like swarmed on me. And my husband, oh, he was so awesome. He was so supportive, so helpful. He was there for me, thank God, through all of this during COVID-19, where this hospital, thankfully they allowed just one support person, and that was my husband. I know other places they have not allowed the moms to have any support. So I just feel for those mothers. But anyway, so we get there, they strip me down, waist down, and I remember the midwife telling me, okay, your baby's heart rate is at 70. I really need you to push. I really need you to push. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. But then I hear the nurse on the side of me, and she's like, wait a minute, I don't think that we have an accurate reading. So they didn't have time to hook me up and give me fluids and, hook me up to everything. So they were doing everything topical on top of my skin and everything, and so it wasn't a super accurate reading, and it kept kind of going up and down. They were like, okay, her heart rate's this, her heart rate's that. You guys, at this point I could not breathe. I kept telling them, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. So I remember them giving me some oxygen, putting that over my mouth, and my mouth got like so dry. Before we left, I was totally hydrated, like my lips were pink, I was urinating clear, and then when it came time to be at the hospital and I'm like ready to push, all that went out the window. My lips were white, like my mouth was dry, and I was like, I need water. And so I remember my husband giving me some water and had a straw, and so that helped, but I still felt like I'm trying to drink and then I'm trying to breathe and I'm trying to listen to the midwife and push, and it was just so much. But so anyway, so the midwife was like, okay, I need you to push, I need you to push. Mind you, my birthing plan this time around was to not just push whenever someone told me to push. I wanted to push along with my contractions and listen to my body. And the midwife was just like really kind of frantic because of what they said about the heart rate. So I remember pushing a few times because I felt him coming down my birth canal. Like when you have an urge to push, there's no denying it. You can't hold baby in as much as you try. You just can't. So it kind of frustrated me that she kept telling me to push, and I'm like, I'm pushing with my contractions. But I couldn't even talk to her because I was so focused on what I was doing. So I think it may have taken, I'll have to ask my husband how many times I pushed, but I want to say no more than like 5 times, maybe 3 to 5 times. And it was one of those head, everything else, and he's here. And you guys, they said when he came out, he pooped all over me. They were like, the poop was like this much on my stomach. This much. So I do thank God that he came out when he did, because if you guys know, the first poop the baby has is meconium, and it can be very fatal if they swallow it while they're still in your womb. And so I was thankful he came out when he did. And he was 8 pounds 5 ounces at 38 weeks pregnant, and my first son was 8 pounds 2 ounces at 40 weeks. So they were pretty accurate about how big he was the whole pregnancy, and he probably could have been not upper 9s if I had him later. So I am glad he came a little early, because that would have been a lot of baby to push out. But so long story short, he came out all healthy, all was well. And my recovery, I had several nurses, but I promised each one every time they came in, do you want some what they asked me, Tylenol, Motrin? I'm like, no, I don't want any drugs, I don't want anything. And that was just my plan, my decision, because I am breastfeeding and nursing. And beside what everyone thinks or says, for me, I know the baby gets everything that I eat and take in, so I did not want to do any drugs. I did do like the, like the topical things that you use postpartum to take care of down there, but I was not taking anything internal. And so other than that, I was just ready to go home. Like, nobody wants to be at a hospital during a pandemic. But thank God we remained healthy, all went well, and I even have a clip of him in the hospital. Good morning, you guys. So I didn't get to vlog my entire birth process, but I did have our baby boy 2 nights ago. Here he is. I'll show you. There's our baby boy. He's 8 pounds 5 ounces, but we are discharging today. We are getting ready to go home, and I'm so excited because it was just me and my husband here, and no one could come and visit due to the virus. So we are really excited to just go home and allow our kids to meet him for the first time. So I'll try to get that recorded so you guys can see. We're home. See, we are home. You know they got it open. I should. Me and Naya.
So happy to see you.
We're home.
What's up, How you doing?
It's so dark in here. You see his eye? Naya, come see.
See your brother, man? Oh, no. Don't put your hand in there.
He's so cute.
You have a good day, man?
Thanks, Daddy.
Oh, wow.
Isn't he cute? Yeah, I missed you. I missed you, Nana and Mimir. Oh, look at the princess.
You feel good. You looks like you don't have a baby in your stomach.
I don't. Where's the baby? And so that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my natural birthing story. I hope this inspired moms to just believe that you can do this, that God created your body for you to naturally be able to push a baby out. Now, if you have medical issues, different things going on, I completely understand. But if you just have that will, like, I don't want to do an epidural, I don't want any kind of drugs, I'm telling you, it's possible. My first child, I did have an epidural. I did have after drugs to numb the pain. And my recovery was a lot harder. I will tell you that. It was a lot harder on my back. I had back pains. I had a longer healing process. They said 6 weeks. It took 9 weeks to heal down there. So just telling you, for different reasons, I can't tell you exactly why, but for me, the epidural just was not helpful. It didn't agree with my body. And I've also, read of things that it could affect for the baby as well. So if you have the desire to have your child naturally, you can do it. And here are the scriptures that I stood on to just believe that this was possible, although they kept telling me the entire pregnancy he was a huge baby. And I didn't allow that to discourage me. I just decided to do it because that's what I believed, that God Almighty was going to help me, and He did. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.